and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations?
All right, welcome back. Want to reset, talk about where we are now and where we might be going next when it comes to Operation Midnight Hammer and the situation in Iran. So taking a look once again to recap what we did over the weekend. The U.S. attacking 3 separate Iranian nuclear sites. Isfahan, where they got a bunch of underground tunnels with enriched uranium. Natanz, and then the big one at Fordo. That is where we used 12 different bunker busters, waiting for damage assessments from those. But the question is, what, if any, responses are going to be from the Iranians next? Keep in mind, we've got about 40,000 U.S. military personnel sprinkled throughout bases all within the Middle East, going from Turkey all the way down to Qatar and the UAE. Remember, back in 2020, it was Al Assad Air Base in Iraq, where the Iranians decided to shoot ballistic missiles in response to the strike against Soleimani. Then down here in Qatar, we've got Al Udeid Air Base. That is our biggest base in all of the Middle East. That's where CENTCOM also has some of their headquarters. The question also, what's going to happen here on U.S. soil? The potential threat of Iranian sleeper cells. We've talked about the open border the last 4 years. Take a look at this data. CBP sources telling Fox News, from 2021 to 2024, under the Biden administration, just over 1,500 Iranians were caught by Border Patrol crossing the southern border illegally. Of that, almost half of them, 729, were released into the U.S. That is 48%. That also does not account for the more than 2 million known gotaways who slipped across the southern border during that time. For more on this and the potential threats to the homeland, I want to send it out to Mark Meredith, joining us live in D.C. this morning. Mark, good morning to you.
Bill, good morning to you. The FBI says it remains vigilant, and the Department of Homeland Security is warning there is a heightened threat given the developments in Iran. We're watching 2 potential types of attack here. The possibility, one, cyber threats to U.S. networks. The other, the possibility of sleeper cells targeting Americans here at home. Major cities, including New York, where you are, D.C. and Los Angeles, stepping up patrols near places of worship. NYPD also watching diplomatic sites around the country, around the city. And over the weekend, DHS put out a bulletin acknowledging the threat is real. DHS writing, multiple recent homeland terrorist attacks have been motivated by anti-Semitic or anti-Israel sentiment, and the ongoing Israel-Iran conflict could contribute to U.S.-based individuals plotting additional attacks. Some lawmakers fear the sharp influx of migrants into the U.S. over the last few years may have allowed Iran to send sleeper cells into the U.S. undetected. And as Bill mentioned, Fox learning many Iranian nationals detected crossing into the U.S. during the Biden administration were allowed to stay and not kept in custody.
O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord of hosts hath sworn by himself, saying, Surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee.
There was no chatter.
Anna, I understand there was no chatter, but we still need to check all of the usual suspects. Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, Al-Sakar. Where are we with local law enforcement?
I've coordinated with D.C. Police, Secret Service, Metro, and Capitol.
All right, that's good. Now remember, the high-value target list only starts with the White House. We need to heighten security at every location.
Already taken care of. You taking that bomb to Andrews?
Yeah, top brass wants everything cataloged under one roof. All right.
Fortunately, they do have a right to be concerned. As you said, Joe Biden had a wide open border policy for 4 years. We know that terrorists tried to enter our country. Iran has a long history of terrorizing America going back 46 years, to include here in the United States.
In February, the White House warned of this very possibility. The national security team says Iran has also directed proxy groups, including Hezbollah's Islamic Jihad organization, to embed sleeper cells. And Bill, the threat extends beyond the obvious U.S. domestic targets. Military installations abroad, American diplomatic outposts all remain on high alert.
Mr. President, there's something you need to see.
Police imposing a curfew on predominantly Muslim neighborhoods and ordering residents to obey it or face arrest. These are citizens who have not been charged with any crimes, who are simply targeted because of their religious beliefs. The American Civil Liberties Union denounced the actions by Dearborn police as a violation of the citizens' basic civil rights. But in the wake of the attack on the Capitol, some are saying this is just the type of policing this country needs.
Governor Royce, how are you?
About as expected. There's lots of manage here, as you can imagine.
I know, and I want to help. I've seen reports that the police in Dearborn are rounding up members of the Muslim community.
Yes, I'm aware.
Well, like I said, we'd like to help you stop the police.
Why would I stop the police? They're acting on my orders.
Your orders?
That's correct. I don't know if you know this, but I have the largest Muslim population in the country here.
That doesn't mean they're doing anything wrong or that they've been radicalized.
No, but I'm willing to bet they know someone who is.
Governor, you can't target an innocent population because you're scared. You have a responsibility
To all my citizens. And my first and only priority is to make sure they're safe. Something that Washington, if there even is such a place anymore, has proven incapable of doing.
Governor, the federal government is more
than effectively snuffed out last night. There is no Congress, there is no Supreme Court. When it comes to the people of Michigan, I am the highest authority, and you have none over me.
With all due respect, sir, I am the president.
Not mine. So you'll have to excuse me, Mr. Kirkman. While you're busy learning how to become president, I've got 10 million citizens to protect.
Governor? Governor Royce, hello?
Yep, the issues at the border continue to echo with the situation right now. Mark Meredith, thank you. Good to see you.
Want to bring in Fran Townsend, former DHS advisor under President Bush. It's great to have you here. One of the things they did not mention is something that Iran is known to have some capabilities, but you could describe them, and that is the cyber capabilities. Could that hurt us here as well?
Sure. I mean, look, they've attacked U.S. critical infrastructure. They've attacked the financial institutions. J.P. Morgan suffered real damage. And so I think the private sector, too, has got to be on alert for retaliatory effects. I agree that we've got there's the potential for these sleeper cells that could be activated. But the FBI has the Joint Terrorism Task Forces, and the glory of those is you've got state and locals in there and DHS so that they're all working the problem together. This is not a new concern. And so I imagine long before the bombing, they were working to uncover sleeper cells.
Hello, sir. It's Agent Hubbard, FBI. And what I propose is that you let these people go, and I'll take their place. I'm going to take your silence to mean that you're considering my offer.
Oh, God.
London, Belfast, Beirut. We're not the first city to have to deal with terrorism. This is New York City. We can take it.
You don't understand. These guys are pros. From the age of 12, they've been dodging people like you.
The situation is appalling. They're attacking our way of life. The president wants it stopped, and there's only one way to do that.
Are you saying the president is prepared to take the necessary steps?
Today, with the invocation of the War Powers Act by the president, I am declaring a state of martial law in this city. We intend to seal off this borough, and we intend to squeeze it.
Do you have any idea what you're starting here?
It's wrong. What if what they really want is for us to herd children in the stadiums like we're doing? And put soldiers on the street and have Americans looking over their shoulders? Bend the law, shred the Constitution just a little bit. We do that, and everything that we have bled and fought and died for is over.
Don't you ever again question my command, is that clear?
I'm not under your command, General.
Take a look around, tell me if you really think that's true.
The FBI is raising a nationwide alert after the joint U.S.-Israel strike. Should there be concern about attacks here in the U.S.? Joining us now, Jason Pack, former FBI special agent. Jason, thanks for being with us. The FBI, I know, is on high alert right now and even monitoring suspects or people that they have concerns about. What are the chances that there will be some kind of blowback here in this country from Iranian sleeper cells?
Good morning, John. I think the realistic possibility is that it's possible. So that's why the FBI and the U.S. intelligence community in general has began to do this 24/7 watch. And the good news is, John, is this just didn't start last night. The FBI, the U.S. intelligence community have agents that work these type of investigations throughout the whole year. So when something like this is planned, they'll begin to take a second look at maybe some old cases. They'll look at people who are in the U.S. Who may have ties back to Iran, and they'll make sure to start taking a closer look at these folks.
Mr. President. Wyatt, right? Yes, sir. Thank you. Sir, I just have to warn you, this might be a bit more hectic than you're used to. I understand. I think we'll be fine.
We've added increased security to our oil and gas pipelines, power grids, refineries, chemical storage tanks.
Mass transit is still on lockdown. Planes and trains. Immigration remains frozen.
Sir, you have to authorize we close the banks immediately.
No, we can't do that. We cannot keep the American people from their money.
48 hours without Bank of America is better than a 48-month depression.
If everyone withdraws their money at the same time, the banks will collapse.
Where are we at with the bombing?
Deputy Director Atwood will be briefing us soon, but we're looking at groups with the skills and resources to do something like this. Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, North Korea, RGB.
What's this about violence in Michigan?
We're getting reports of flare-ups in Dearborn, police targeting the local Muslim community.
Yeah, but what I want to know is how the terrorists bring explosives into the Capitol building in the first place.
We're working on that. In the meantime, we have to go after everyone we suspect. We go after them, after their families, any way we can.
I'm sorry, are you talking about enhanced interrogation?
They destroyed our Capitol. I'm saying we do whatever we have to do.
Okay, there's a process.
Everybody, why don't we just focus on one thing at a time? Please, excuse me.
The U.S. has confirmed that the use of B-20 bombers in the ongoing Operation Epic Fury. U.S. CENTCOM says that it used B-2 stealth bombers armed with 2,000-pound bombs and struck Iran's hardened ballistic missile facilities. Additionally, CENTCOM even added that no nation should ever doubt America's resolve. This is notably the second time that B-2 Spirit stealth bombers have been used again against Iran. It was last June that 7 of them they were used to bomb Iran. So second time that these bombers have been used by the US forces. Now this is a statement that's coming in from the US CENTCOM, which says that B-2 bombers in the ongoing Operation Epic Fury have been used. It goes on to say that it used these B-2 stealth bombers armed with 2,000-pound bombs and struck Iran's hardened ballistic missile facilities. Additionally, it says that no nation should ever doubt America's resolve. Important to mention here that this is the second time that B-2 Spirit stealth bombers have been used against Iran. Last time it was used during the 12-day war that was waged against Iran.
Tensions across the Middle East have risen sharply following a major incident off the coast of Oman and a dramatic move involving one of the world's most critical energy routes. An oil tanker operating near the Omani coastline was severely damaged in a powerful maritime incident just hours after Iran announced new restrictions on navigation through the Strait of Hormuz. The development has intensified concerns about global energy security, maritime safety, and the broader stability of the region. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the busiest and most strategically important shipping corridors in the world. Roughly 1/5 of global oil supplies pass through this narrow stretch of water that connects the Persian Gulf to international markets. Any disruption in this area immediately sends shockwaves across global energy markets, shipping industries, and financial systems. According to maritime tracking data and regional officials, the tanker was sailing in international waters near Oman when a sudden explosion tore through part of the vessel's hull. The ship reportedly sustained significant structural damage, and emergency response teams were deployed from nearby coastal authorities. Crew members were evacuated, and initial reports suggest that the majority of personnel on board were safely accounted for. Investigations into the cause of the blast are ongoing. The incident occurred shortly after Iranian authorities confirmed new measures affecting transit through the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran stated that it was responding to what it described as external pressure and threats against its national security. Iranian officials insisted that any restrictions were aimed at protecting sovereignty and were within their rights under international maritime law. In a statement carried by state media, an Iranian official said, "We will not allow our national security to be compromised in these waters." The remark signaled Tehran's firm stance amid growing tensions. However, several Western governments quickly expressed concern, arguing that freedom of navigation must be preserved. A spokesperson for the United States government stated, "The Strait of Hormuz is an international waterway. Its security and openness are essential to global stability." The statement emphasized that any deliberate disruption to commercial shipping would have serious consequences for the global economy. Energy markets reacted almost immediately. Oil prices surged in early trading hours as traders assessed the potential risks of prolonged disruption. Analysts noted that even temporary interruptions in shipments through the strait can tighten supply chains and raise prices worldwide. Insurance premiums for vessels operating in the region also began to rise, reflecting heightened risk perceptions. The government of Oman confirmed that its maritime authorities were coordinating rescue and investigation efforts. An Omani official described the situation as serious and called for calm while inquiries continue. Oman has traditionally played a mediating role in regional disputes and is now urging all sides to exercise restraint. Satellite images of the affected vessel show visible burn marks and structural damage along one side of the hull. Maritime experts suggest that the pattern of destruction is consistent with an external explosive device, though no official conclusion has yet been reached. Investigators are examining possibilities ranging from a sea mine to a drone-based explosive. No group has claimed responsibility.
Mr. Ambassador.
Mr. President.
Please.
Thank you.
You can begin by removing your destroyers from the Strait of Hormuz.
Mr. President, excuse me, but I believe you have been misinformed.
Is that a fact?
Yes, we have moved no such destroyers into the Strait of Hormuz.
My Defense Department has wargamed this out. They're waiting for me to give them the green light, which I assure you I will do, unless you pull your destroyers back to Bandar Abbas within the next 3 hours.
Mr. President,
Mr. Ambassador, you may not know much about me, but what you should know is that I'm about as straight a shooter as you're going to find in Washington. So you should believe me when I tell you that I do not want, as my first act as Commander-in-Chief, to attack Iran. But as both of us know, it's not always up to us how history plays itself out. Now, I have chosen to believe that your country is not playing on our emotions tonight, but nevertheless, you will feel the full impact of them if you do not comply with my demands. Mr. Ambassador, dock your destroyers, or the lead story on the morning news will not be about the attack on our capital, but the devastating attack on yours. Please, Mr. Ambassador, let's not get off on the wrong foot here tonight.
Mr. President, I will speak with my government.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Mr. Ambassador, this way.
Mr. Ambassador, 3 hours.
Warning red, weapons tight. And prepare F-35.
Unknown airborne object has been detected. 232, approximately 16,000 yards.
What the hell is that?
USS John C. Stennis arrives today at Port Rashid for a 4-day visit of Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. Live from the aircraft carrier Captain Greg Dawes.
They want 200 million. It has to be in cash.
I will pay in gold.
An eye for an eye, Mr. Dawes!
All right, gentlemen, this is not a drill. What's the status?
We have a possible hostile attack. No. Go back.
Where are your weapons?
This is the hostage we need to save.
Iran's Revolutionary Guard used a mock U.S. aircraft carrier in its defense drills for the first time Wednesday. State TV showed footage of missiles being fired at the mock carrier during the Great Prophet 9 drills. The replica carrier was hit with cruise and ballistic missiles, as well as rockets fired from speedboats. The speedboats are armed with short-range cruise missiles, medium-range anti-ship missiles, large-caliber torpedoes, sea mines, heavy machine guns, rocket launchers, and shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles.
Son, we're on the brink of the next world war, and I don't think nobody's praying no more, and I ain't saying I know it for sure. I'm just down on my knees, begging the Lord to take me home.
The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery and of the most bloody turmoil. Then, everywhere, the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. A bizarre letter indeed. And a red flag may have gone off when you heard the term Nazism, but the term Nazism was known to those in the Illuminati at that time. Will we allow this madness to unfurl unabated, or will we put a halt to it before it's too late?
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran.
We are facing an act of aggression, and obviously we have every right to defend ourselves.
We've been hit. We've been hit.
History unfolding in the Middle East. The U.S. and Israel carrying out an unprecedented military operation, crippling Tehran's leadership by taking out Iran's supreme leader, along with dozens of other top officials.
The devastating blow to Iran's Islamic regime, a result of one of the largest military operations in the history of modern warfare, with 900 U.S. strikes in just 12 hours, using 2 aircraft carriers, 3 destroyers, and B-2 stealth bombers, and striking at least 500 Iranian targets.
We've already seen dozens of U.S. military bases targeted with retaliatory strikes as Iran vows revenge.
President Trump urging Iran not to return fire or face, quote, force that has never been seen before.
The sentiment for Iranian Americans across the globe, elation, celebrations erupting after the strikes came down in what could be the best hope for relief from the Islamic regime's reign in decades. We begin this morning with Jennifer Griffin to walk us through this history-making mission. And good morning, Jennifer. It's really quite remarkable when you look at the total package.
Griff, very remarkable, but also a complicated picture emerging this morning. The Iranian leadership that did survive, and there are a few leaders that did survive, the president, as well as Ali Larijani, who's very powerful in Iran, have threatened the U.S. and threatened to attack 27 U.S. bases across the Middle East. And we've been seeing a lot of those missiles flying into neighboring countries. A mob also tried to storm the U.S. embassy in Baghdad, and Pakistani security forces used batons to push back an angry crowd threatening the U.S. consulate in Karachi, Pakistan. Both Iraq and Pakistan, of course, have large Shia Muslim populations. And British Defense Secretary John Healey said 2 missiles had been fired towards Cyprus, where the British Army has service members stationed. In Tehran, following the announcement of the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, there were spontaneous outbursts of celebration on the one hand, but also some crowds chanting today in downtown Tehran, "Death to America." Not clear if these were spontaneous or organized protests, but you can assume that the remnants of the regime and the IRGC will want to present a united front, suggesting that the regime will survive. The man to watch is Ali Larijani, the head of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. He just gave an interview in which he described the killing of Ali Khamenei as extremely painful, threatening revenge, quote, "The United States and the Zionists have burned the heart of the Iranian people, and we will burn their hearts." Meantime, Iran managed to fire more than 300 missiles at the UAE, where the U.S. has a military base at Al Dhafra, about the same number as it fired toward Israel. Actually, about 100 ballistic missiles were fired toward Israel yesterday, according to the IDF. So this was actually more missiles fired at UAE. Iran has expanded its response, even firing missiles at Oman, which tried to negotiate that last-minute nuclear deal and avoid war. Qatar received about 65 Iranian missiles since yesterday, and Bahrain approximately 35. And explosions have been heard in eastern Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, today. Israel, meantime, has increased its airstrikes and says it will now target Iran's nuclear facilities, and just moments ago hit the headquarters of the IRGC and barracks in Tehran. That is where the massacre of last month's Iranian protesters was organized and carried out. Smoke has been seen rising from near Iran's state broadcasting facility in Tehran. And in terms of the U.S. operation yesterday, the U.S. military, we learned, carried out 900 strikes in 12 hours. 10 to 15 senior leaders of the Iranian government and military were killed in that Israeli strike on Ali Khamenei's compound. Multiple sources tell me that the start of the operation, the joint operation, had to be moved up based on intelligence and this target of opportunity, a meeting at Khamenei's compound. Quote, "There was a deliberate decision to accelerate the timeline. That is why the U.S. and Israel took the unusual decision to strike during the daytime to achieve the element of surprise and to target this meeting. Normally, the U.S. military would not launch an operation like this during the day. The meeting accelerated the timeline, I'm told. This was a massive, wildly bold daytime attack," a senior U.S. defense official official told me. It caught the senior leadership off guard and on a Saturday morning during Ramadan and on Shabbat in the daytime. We hit the senior leaders right out of the gate, I was told. But some survived, including, as I mentioned, Ali Larijani, the man to watch, and Iran's president, who issued a statement just moments ago.
There would be headlines in the papers. Even the grown-up gangs who ran the betting at the All-In Wrestling and the Barrow Boys would hear with respect of how Old Misery's house had been destroyed. It was as though this plan had been with him all his life, pondered through the seasons, now in his 15th year, crystallized with the pain of puberty. What is Graham Greene trying to communicate with this passage? Why did the children break into Old Misery's house? Joni?
They wanted to rob him.
Joni, if you had actually read the short story, which at a whopping 13 pages would have kept you up all night, you would know that the children find a great deal of money in the mattress, but they burn it. Donnie Darko, perhaps with your recent brush with mass destruction, you can give us your opinion.
Well, they say it right when they flood the house and they tear it to shreds, that, destruction is a form of creation, so the fact that they burn the money is ironic. They just want to see what happens when they tear the world apart. They want to change things.
Destruction is a form of creation, so the fact that they burn the money is ironic. They just want to see what happens when they tear the world apart. They want to change things.
So I want to go in and begin giving you visions. Try and remember these visions. Note them in your mind. I'll call off certain aspects of the visions because I believe they're going to be of significance in materials that I will offer to you. In that vision, I was standing and looking out over the Isle of Anglesey in Carnarvon, northern Wales, standing on the Eagle Tower on the Carnarvon Castle. This is the Carnarvon Castle, is where Prince Charles, was coronated as Prince of Wales. That's a significant expression and reason I believe that God put me there. There's a lot that can be put into that. But that isn't my particular expertise. We'll leave that with those who feel they have other information on it. However, as I stood there looking out over the Isle of Anglesey from the Eagle Tower, it's the tallest tower of the Carnarvon Castle, all of a sudden, looking out across over the Irish Sea, the tip of the Irish Sea into the North Sea, I was caught up into the heavens and looking down on the earth like a globe. And as I looked down on the earth like a globe, I saw a massive military movement coming out of an area up by the Arctic. And I couldn't figure out what this was, what was going on, why a military, Navy, and Air Force, why it would be going out between the United States and Europe, up above Finland, going out through the Icelandic Gap, and heading down between the United States and Europe and making a curl all the way around the Horn of Africa towards the Persian Gulf. Now that's significant. When all of a sudden I was alarmed because of that, you would have been too. I looked over toward the United States and I saw something I'd never seen in my life. I had never even preconceived the thought of it. I had always thought that the United States was wiser and more powerful than to allow Russian subs to be parked right almost on our beaches per se. What I mean by that is you could see the submarines down under the water, but there were areas that the sand still had drifted on down from the beaches into the depths. And the submarines were sitting there aimed at America. I saw them sprinkled all the way across the East Coast. When I saw that, my family at that time lived in Portland, Oregon. I was alarmed, of course, and I wanted to look over toward Portland to see what was going on. And as I looked across the continent of the United States of this globe, I saw the submarines from way up by Washington, the top of Washington, all the way down around towards San Diego, poised in the same way all the way along our coast in the north from the Pacific side. Then something else caught my attention. I began to see radio towers going up all across the nation. And these radio towers, as they went up, the dotted lines began going out as though they were transmitting. And then there was an alarm went off in me. They're sounding the alarm. We're going to be under attack. The siege is laid. When all of a sudden I was watching these radio dots going out like the transmitting of a warning, and instead of the people being warned, they sprinkled to the ground like dust. And an alarm went off in me, and I cried out in the heavens, and I said, "Oh God, they won't even know what hit them." And at that time, all of a sudden, I looked down on the eastern seaboard at the submarine was drawn to that one right off from New York City. And I saw the missile come right out of that submarine and go right up and come right over the city of New York, and the entire city disappeared. Then I looked down, on down toward Florida. And down there, I could see another explosion take place. I looked across, because of my family being in the Pacific Northwest, I looked across, another explosion took place up by Seattle, Bellevue. And then another one down by San Francisco. And another one down toward Los Angeles, and another one toward San Diego. And there I stood in shock as I was watching these explosions take place and these cities literally disappearing from off the face of the earth.
Listen now to these things, and understand them, O servants of the Lord. Behold the word of the Lord. Receive it. Do not disbelieve what the Lord says. Behold, the calamities draw near and are not delayed. Just as a woman with child in the 9th month, when the time of her delivery draws near, has great pains about her womb for 2 or 3 days beforehand, and when the child comes forth from the womb, there will not be a moment's delay. So the calamities will not delay in coming forth upon the earth, and the world will groan and pains will seize it on every side. Hear my words, O my people, prepare for battle, and in the midst of the calamities be like strangers on the earth. Let him that sells be like one who will flee. Let him that buys be like one who will lose. Let him that does business be like one who will not make a profit. And let him that builds a house be like one who will not live in it. Let him that sows be like one who will not reap. So also him that prunes the vines, like one who will not gather the grapes. Them that marry, like those who will have no children, and them that do not marry, like those who are widowed. Because those who labor, labor in vain. For strangers shall gather their fruits, and plunder their goods, and overthrow their houses, and take their children captive. For in captivity and famine they will beget their children. Those who conduct business do it only to be plundered. The more they adorn their cities, their houses and possessions, and their persons, the more angry I will be with them for their sins, says the Lord.
And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, These things saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David, he that openeth, and no man shutteth, and shutteth, and no man openeth. I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Behold, I come quickly. Hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown.
But as the days of Noah were, so likewise shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days before the flood, they did eat and drink, marry, and give in marriage, unto the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew nothing, till the flood came, and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then 2 shall be in the fields, the one shall be received, and the other shall be refused. 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be received, and the other shall be refused. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your master will come.
The sword has been sent upon you, and who is there to turn back? A fire has been sent upon you, and who is there to quench it? Calamities have been sent upon you, and who is there to drive them away? Can one drive off a hungry lion in the forest, or quench a fire in the stubble, once it has begun to burn? Can one turn back an arrow shot by a strong archer? The Lord God sends calamities, and who will drive them away? Fire will go forth from his wrath, and who is there to quench it? He will flash lightning, and who will not be afraid? He will thunder, and who will not be terrified? The Lord will threaten, and who will not be utterly shattered at his presence? The earth and its foundations quake. The sea is churned up from the depths, and its waves and the fish also shall be troubled at the presence of the Lord, and before the glory of his power. For his right hand that bends the bow is strong, and his arrows that he shoots are sharp and will not miss when they begin to be shot to the ends of the world. Behold, calamities are sent forth, and shall not return until they come over the earth. The fire is kindled, and shall not be put out until it consumes the foundations of the earth. Just as an arrow shot by a mighty archer does not return, so the calamities that are sent upon the earth shall not return. Alas for me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows, when there shall be much lamentation. The beginning of famine, when many shall perish. the beginning of wars when the powers shall be terrified, the beginning of calamities when all shall tremble. What shall they do in these circumstances when the calamities come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for the correction of men. Yet for all this they will not turn from their iniquities, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, provision will be so cheap upon earth that men will imagine that peace is assured for them. And then the calamity shall spring up on the earth, the sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of those who live on the earth shall perish by famine, and those who survive the famine shall die by the sword. And the dead shall be cast out like dung, and there shall be no one to console them. For the earth shall be left desolate, and its cities shall be demolished.
So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel.